Hi friends, it's Miss Alex from the Fairlawn Library. I'm back to read another 2 chapters of the Class Pet Squad. So we're doing chapters 3 and 4 today, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys are reading at home as well and doing other fun activities. We'll hopefully have more stuff coming to you guys soon, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. But let's get right into this book. So chapter 3. Once Max made sure his team was on task, he climbed up to the windowsill and took a long look around the classroom. The seats were empty, but when the sun rose tomorrow morning, they'd be filled with students. His students. And there was nothing he wouldn't do for each and every one of them. Then he turned toward the window and he watched the setting sun. He thought about Ben McGulty. Max knew it was his duty to get Sharkman to him by bedtime. "Hang on, kid," Max whispered. "The class pet squad is on its way." Max," a voice said. Max quickly brushed away a tear and turned to see Shirley looking up at him. "Yes," Max composed himself. "What is it?" "We still need to get a part for the vehicle," she explained. "I think we're going to have to call, them." "Are you sure?" Max asked. "Because you know I don't want to call those guys unless I absolutely have to." Shirley said she was sure. They scoured the classrooms, the lost and found box, the supply closet, and even the cafeteria. But they couldn't find the one thing they needed to power the vehicle. "We need a fishing pole reel," she explained. All the way up to the roof, Max shook his head and muttered to himself, as Shirley trailed behind. Max climbed up to the mouth of a drain pipe and asked Shirley one last time if she was absolutely sure they really needed a fishing pole reel. "I'm sure," Shirley said. Max drew a heavy sigh. "Second Street specials," he reluctantly shouted into the drain pipe. "We need you." "Well, well, well, fellas," Ralph the Rat snickered to his gang as he sauntered up to Max. "It seems that our friends at the Class Pet Squad request our presence." Shirley nervously hid behind Max. "Don't worry, kid," Ralph said, smiling a toothy grin. "I don't bite." Max glowered at Ralph, keeping an eye on him the entire time. "Now why would the squeaky clean heroes of PS 1000 be calling a bunch of dirty, stinking junkyard scavengers like the Second Street Specials, Polly?" Ralph asked, never taking his eyes off Max. "Gee, Ralph," snickered Polly the pigeon, "you don't suppose these fancy school pets need our help, do ya?" Ralph got up real close to Max and said, "Well, Fuzzball, do ya?" "Yes," Max said, pushing Ralph away, "we do." Ralph stood with Polly, Stuart the squirrel, and his cockroach crew. "So," Ralph asked, "what is it this time?" "We need a fishing pole reel," Max explained, "and we need it pronto." "It's gonna cost you, Squirt," said Ralph. "Just make sure you get it here in an hour, you dirty rat," said Max. "Dirty?" Ralph snorted. "I took a bath 2 weeks ago." Chapter 4. "Class Pet Squad! Headquarters immediately! Status report time!" "What's a status report?" Max Zuzu asked as she bounced into the room. It means what everyone's done so far," said Max. "Well, why didn't you just say that?" Zuzu asked. Max smacked his forehead and rolled his eyes. "I printed a map to Ben's house," Rhonda said, "and we came up with the fastest way there." Max gave Rhonda a short nod of approval and turned to Julius. "Okay," said Max, "your turn." Julius reached up and pulled down a roll of paper hanging from the ceiling, but it fell off the spool and onto the floor. Julius scratched his head, looking up at the spool. My chart seems to have fallen down," he said. "Just give me about an hour or so to repair it, and—" "We don't have time!" Max shouted. "Just get on with it." "Very well," Julius said, smoothing out the piece of paper. "As we discussed," said Julius, pointing to a drawing, "we will require a vehicle of some sort in order to transport us to—" Yeah, Max said impatiently. "The maestros are already working on that. What else do we need?" "Well, I suggest a grappling hook and a rope to scale walls," said Julius. and I thought it might be wise to maybe have a catapult to possibly launch the toy directly into Ben's bedroom window. And what's this? A snack, Zuzu smiled. We may get hungry. Max shook his head and said, Okay, squad, now that we're... Hey, said Zuzu, what about me? Don't you want to know what I did? Okay, Zuzu, Max sighed. What did you do? I covered Sharkman with glitter, she said proudly. Doesn't he look better? Better in what way? Julius asked, scratching his head. He is kind of cute now, Rhonda smiled. Will you guys get back to work? Max shouted. A while later, as Max was in the cafeteria deglittering Sharkman, he heard something. Take a look around, fellas, said Ralph as he and the Second Street Specials were walking up to Max. This is how the other half lived their lives. Fancy, said Stuart Squirrel. Clean, said Polly. Don't get too used to this place, said Max. You're not a class pet. Keep your fur on, Pipsqueak, Ralph snickered. This place ain't our style. We much prefer the junkyard. Right, gang? The Second Street Specials nodded. So, Max asked, did you get it? Have I ever let you down, Half-Pint? Ralph asked. Ralph snapped his fingers and the cockroach crew scurried up, carrying the rusty fishing reel. Max looked it over and nodded. It'll have to do, said Max. What do you want for it? Got any of those fish sticks left? Stuart asked hopefully. Rhonda, Max shouted, not taking his eyes off Ralph. A box of fish sticks for our friends. A few moments later, Rhonda walked up carrying a box of fish sticks. She put it down next to Max. Let's have the reel, Rat, said Max. Let's have the sticks, Fuzzball, sneered Ralph. Max slowly slid the box towards Ralph as Ralph slid the reel towards Max, neither one of them taking their eyes off the other. Max picked up the reel and handed it to Rhonda. Oops, excuse me. Please give this to the maestros, Max told her. Ralph snapped his fingers and the cockroach crew picked up the fish sticks and scurried away. Nice doing business with you, Squirt, Ralph sneered. As he turned and walked away, Max could hear Stuart say to Ralph, You should have asked for 2 boxes of fish sticks. A while later, the squad gathered in the science room. Okay, class pet squad, Joe said. Get ready to be dazzled. 1 rope and grappling hook, Shirley announced as Harry held up a rope made of paper clips and pipe cleaner with a grappling hook at the end of it. Show 'em how it works, Harry, Shirley said. Harry swung the rope in a wide circle and hooked the windowsill. Then he climbed up the wall and onto the sill. He waved to everyone, but lost his balance and fell back down, hitting his head. He sat up and gave everyone a thumbs up. Is he okay? Rhonda asked. Sure, said Joe. That's the 5th time he did that today. 1 catapult, Joe said, pointing to a contraption made of a ruler, eraser, and some thumbtacks. Hop on, Harry, Shirley said. Harry hopped on, and Shirley gave Joe the signal. Joe pulled out one of the thumbtacks holding the catapult. Moing! Harry flew into the air and smacked against the wall, then slid down to the floor. That's the 6th time he did that today, Joe explained. This is our greatest invention yet, said Joe. You say that every time, said Max. Because it's true, said Joe. You asked for a vehicle to get you to Ben's house without anyone noticing, Shirley asked. Well, we got on it for you. Harry pulled the towel off. May we present the Wolf-O-Matic, Shirley and Joe shouted. Let's show them how it works, said Joe. The maestros hopped into and took controls. They made their invention walk around the room. Harry pumped the fishing wheel as the vehicle wobbled and made a funny clanking sound. He's cute, said Rhonda. He looks exactly like a real dog, shouted Zuzu. I agree, said Julius, as long as you don't look too closely. This thing better work, Max grumbled. It's guaranteed, said Shirley. Or your money back, said Joe. And that is the end of chapter 4. So we are going to stop there. I hope you guys have been enjoying the story so far, and I hope to see you guys again tomorrow for chapters 5 and 6. All right, friends, we'll see you guys soon. I hope everyone is having fun at home. Make the most of it, and have a great rest of the night. Bye.